Seahawks fans, I need your help. We are closing in on 65,500 subscribers here on Seahawks Today. Less than 60 away from reaching that next milestone. If you want daily Seahawks news and rumors, coverage of the NFL Draft as we'll be live on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, as well as our breaking news, Q&A mailbags, and more. We are your Seahawks offseason headquarters. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/Seahawks TV. Never miss a moment. Subscribe now for free, and we'll get started with today's show. Could Tyreek Hill be on his way to Seattle? Welcome in to this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. I am your fearless leader, Tyler Lockett, here with you. Appreciate you joining us. FanSided has named Seattle as a top trade destination for Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill. And before we get into this, let me just say, I know some of you right away are going to be after me in the comments section and say, why are you wasting your time talking about a trade rumor for Tyreek Hill? Well, as we've always said, we don't hide it here on Seahawks Today. We are a news and rumors channel. And it is my job, it is my duty, my obligation to report on every news and rumors item that comes across the page. And if FanSided's talking about Tyreek Hill in Seattle, then we're going to discuss it here on Seahawks Today. And if you don't like it, that's a you problem. Deal with it. Here's more from FanSided. Well, the new look wide receiving core isn't as bad as we all thought it would be. It still needs more talent on it. Seattle made some major changes this offseason by replacing Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett with Sam Darnold, Cooper Kupp, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Smith and Metcalf were looking for long-term contracts, and Seattle was willing to take a step down in talent for guys on shorter deals. Darnold and Kupp only got guaranteed money in 2025. A trade for Tyreek Hill could fall in line with that idea since Hill only has guarantees this year. But the talent would be higher than what they have now. Multiple of day 3 picks probably won't get the trade done, so they might have to offer pick 92. But with 5 picks on day 2, it's a move they can stomach. So when I first heard about this idea of Tyreek Hill in Seattle, my first reaction was, what? Tyreek Hill? Seattle? Huh? But then the more I read into it and think about this possibility, it actually isn't as crazy as it sounds. This isn't completely out of left field. Tyreek Hill's been talking for months about potentially leaving the Miami Dolphins and seeking a trade. And if you look at teams that are playoff caliber teams that need a receiver, I guess Seattle would make sense. He's looking to play for a contending team. Tyreek Hill, you go back just a few weeks ago, and he was not shy about the trade rumors that were out there, throwing up his infamous peace sign and all that. And he's done this thing before of openly talking about leaving Miami and saying adios to South Beach. I don't think he's happy in Miami. And that doesn't take a genius to figure that out. Based on what he has said recently and even a few months ago, you go back to January 5th, and he said, open the door. I'm out. Meaning that he wanted out of Miami, and he backtracked on that a little bit. But I think that he is still making his grievances known, that he would like to weigh his options elsewhere. So the idea that FanSided proposed in that article there was just giving up a third-round pick at 92. Here's something to think about, too. When you're looking at receivers at 92, it's probably highly unlikely you will find a receiver as good as Tyreek Hill is right now. Don't tempt me with a good time. This is very intriguing. I would have never thought, even a few weeks ago, this was a remote possibility. But as we crunch the numbers, we'll show you the numbers here in just a bit, and you show me that that's all it would take in a trade, with Seattle having plenty of draft capital on hand and cap space, you have my full attention. So, should the Seahawks trade for Tyreek Hill? It's our pinned comment today. What do you think? Type T for trade, P for pass. I like the idea. I'll explain why I love the idea in a moment, but we want to hear from you guys first. Weigh in and let us know. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Game Time makes getting tickets faster and easier, even for hard-to-get playoff seats. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA playoff tickets. Now, I know what you're thinking. I wish we had the Sonics to root on in the playoffs. We do not. But whether it's NBA playoff games around the country, or maybe you just want to see an event right here in Seattle, like your Seattle Mariners, for example. You choose the event you want to go to. They got the prices listed. You choose your seat, see if you like that seat or not, and boom, just like that, you're checking out on Apple Pay, Google Pay, Venmo, all major credit card providers. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Seattle Seahawks today, where they offer last-minute deals where you can save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy shows, theater productions, and more. Game Time makes last-minute ticket buying easier than ever by quickly highlighting the best deals in the stadium. They have their zone deals where you can save even more when you choose a section. Let Game Time choose the seats. They have their all-in pricing. Toggling this feature shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. They have their seat views where you can get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. The lowest price is guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPRTS for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. All right, let's get to know Tyreek Hill a little bit more. He is well on his way to Canton, Ohio, my friends. An 8-time Pro Bowler, a 5-time first-team All-Pro. He was the co-leader in receiving touchdowns and also led the league in receiving yards in 2023. He is a Super Bowl champion. He was named to the NFL's 2010s All-Decade team. The resume for the Pro Football Hall of Fame is there. Well, what does he have still left in the tank? Well, I got good news for y'all. He is still great. All right? Is he as good as what he was a couple of years ago? No. But he's still one of the top receivers in football. You look at the stats. Last year, numbers down a bit. 2023 had nearly 1,800 yards. Last year, fell short of 1,000. But still had 81 catches. Averaged 11.8 yards a reception, 6 touchdowns. It was a monumental year for Tyreek Hill last year, even with him taking a step back. His worst season that he's had in a while, maybe ever, was still a season that a lot of guys wish they could have. Now, what he would bring to Seattle, he can still open up the offense. He can create openings that, with the receivers you have currently, are not there. He would bring in something that the Seahawks do not have right now with his vertical threat ability, with the raw speed. Nobody on that roster is even close to being as fast as Tyreek Hill. Now, when it comes to Tyreek Hill, there begs the question about his off-the-field antics and some of the stuff that goes back to his days at Oklahoma State and the problems that he caused in Kansas City and then what he's done in Miami. It's been questionable. I think that's very fair to say. But I'll give Tyreek Hill credit on this. I'm not defending any of his actions. Let me make that clear. But what Tyreek Hill has done a very good job of is compartmentalizing everything that's gone on. I'm not going to get into how many baby mamas and children he has, or the arrests, or some of those things that have gone on. That's none of my business. But has it ever gotten in the way of his performance? Has he ever let any of that stuff affect him? No, quite frankly. In fact, I would say he's done a very good job of not letting that affect his performance on the football field. Whether you like it or not, and I totally understand if you have issues with what has gone on off the field. You can't deny that Tyreek Hill knows how to deal with it. That when it comes to focusing on football, Tyreek Hill has been there and shown that he can still put football first. That is still his number one priority. And to me, I think he deserves credit for that, in all honesty. Who's a player the Seahawks should trade for? Whether it's Tyreek Hill or whether it's somebody else, give me a name in the comments section that you would like to see end up in Seattle, that you'd like to see John make a move for. Weigh in and let us know. So how about the money? Show me the money! What would it take for a Tyreek Hill trade to happen? Well, here's what you need to know. The Dolphins will pay a $1 million roster bonus. And if they were to trade him, the new team, like Seattle, would then take on a $15.85 million roster bonus. Hill only is owed $10 million in base salary next season. And then there's a $1.8 million potential per game roster bonus for 2025. And then here's the other thing. Let's just say it doesn't work out. What if we have seen the best of Tyreek Hill and he's not the same player anymore? Well, it's not going to cost you anything beyond this year. There's no guaranteed money he's owed after 2025. In Seattle, they're not short of money by any stretch. Their cap space, according to Spotrac right now, is at $36.89 million. You take 10 of that for your draft picks. There's 26, 27. You can pay Tyreek Hill. As crazy as it sounded at the beginning of this show, it doesn't sound so crazy now. This can be done. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not, in all honesty. But if it does, we're going to have a party and we're going to be jumping up for joy. And this could change everything for the Seahawks. For continuing Seahawks offseason coverage, subscribe now to Seattle Seahawks Today for free. YouTube.com/SeahawksTV. I'm Tyler Jones, your fearless leader. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.